Hey everyone, welcome. We're kicking off today to talk about myths of meditation. So, I've been teaching meditation for about 8 or 9 years now, and I've had a lot of people share concerns about meditation. There's a lot of beliefs about what meditation is and what it's supposed to do. So, I'm going to discuss today the 6 most common concerns that I hear from people who are interested in meditation but are not entirely sure of it, particularly when they feel like meditation isn't for them, like they can't do it. That's going to be one of the myths that we talk about. So, we will close the session today with what I hope is a pretty accessible meditation. It's from the School of Mindful Self-Compassion. It's called Affectionate Breathing. It's a way of getting in touch with your breathing and getting in touch with your body in a way that's hopefully really compassionate and grounding and accessible. So you can let me know if that works for you or not. Like I said, I'm going to start with 6 of the most common myths I have heard about meditation and the concerns that people have when they're starting meditation. And the first one that I hear all of the time is this idea of clear your mind. You've probably heard this on TV and in movies when people talk about meditation and they're sitting on the top of a mountain and they say, clear your mind. That is not how minds work. You can't clear your mind. So that is a myth. The purpose of meditation is not to clear your mind. The purpose of meditation actually is to focus your mind. Meditation is a brain training, right? So our thoughts come up all of the time. Thoughts, feelings, sensations come up all of the time. It's the way that we're designed. Our body is designed to give us feedback about what's going on. And part of that is this constant chatter that we have in our head about everything, about the grocery list, about the pets, about the kids, about whatever. There's always this kind of constant chatter. And what meditation can actually help us do is to focus that. So the thoughts that come up, when we have a thought, we often think it must be really important because we had that thought. Yeah, sometimes it's just not that important. You learn this when you start to meditate more, because when you're trying to focus on one thing and this random thought comes up, it allows you to realize, like, oh, that's just a random thought. I don't have to actually do anything with that thought. And even if a thought comes up that you do need to do something about, when you're meditating, you don't have to do anything about it right then. So the point of meditation is not to clear your mind. The point of meditation is to focus your mind, to train your brain to keep coming back to one point of attention. This will allow you in other parts of your life to maintain that same kind of focus so that you're not so easily distracted kind of all over the place. The other main myth that I hear from people is, I can't meditate for whatever reason. I can't meditate. A lot of people say this if they are easily distracted, that they just have too much on their mind. They're just easily distracted. They can't let go of their thoughts. They tell me they can't meditate. Well, you can meditate. Of course, it's going to be easier for some people than others, right? So particularly if you have sort of an attention issue, meditation is going to be more challenging because it is about kind of focusing your meditation, focusing your attention, bringing your attention back. But it's also really good for you. It's probably particularly good for you if you are easily distracted. So first, I just want to say everyone can meditate. Even very small children can meditate. But like I said, it's more difficult for some people than for others. If you remember this, thinking of meditation as brain training, of a brain exercise, and you can approach it in a gentle, easy way. So I often recommend that people approach meditation like they would if they wanted to run and they did the couch to 5K option for running. It's the same thing, the couch to 5K option for meditation. So starting really small. And the chances are really good, even if you're easily distracted, you already find ways to focus on things. Now, that might be focusing on Netflix or social media or something, but there is a good chance that you have already had experience focusing on something really intensely that your mind didn't wander all of the time. Now the trick is to do the same thing when you don't have something that's like visually stimulating, like social media or Netflix or something like that, to train yourself to kind of focus. So you can meditate, give yourself an opportunity to try and start really small. So find something that is easier for you to focus on. Some people find like bell meditation really helpful because they can listen to the sound of the bell. Some people find visualization meditation helpful because it allows somebody to guide their thoughts in a particular way. Other people like flame meditation. Find something that you can focus on, even if it's just for a moment. That's the beginning of meditation. And the more frequently you focus on something and then you get distracted by something else and you come back to it, that is like doing another exercise repetition. You're like lifting weights kind of thing. So you're focused, you get distracted, and then you bring yourself back. Kindly, gently, with care, bring yourself back. So clear your mind is a big one, a myth that people have. The idea that I can't meditate for whatever reason is another big myth that people have. The third one, which is kind of related to the I can't meditate, is I'm doing it wrong. There are a lot of people that have beliefs that meditation has to be done in a particular way, that you have to sit on a mountaintop or in a cave, and that you have to be still, you have to be quiet, and it has to be silent and very strict. That is one form of meditation. And if that's accessible to you, then do that. That's great. But that is not the only form of meditation. You can actually meditate anytime, anywhere. You can meditate while you're doing the dishes. If you're doing the dishes and you focus all of your attention just on doing the dishes, that is meditation. If you're brushing your teeth and you just focus on the sensations of brushing your teeth and what it feels like, and when you have a distracting thought, you come back to brushing your teeth, that is also meditation. So there isn't a particularly right way. You don't have to sit in the lotus position cross-legged. You don't have to, have your eyes closed and do some sort of a chant. You don't have to do any of those things. You can do those things. If those things are helpful to you and allows you to kind of come back to focus, to be in this place, then absolutely do that. That's great. But putting rules on what meditation should be is only going to knock you out of meditation, because then you're constantly criticizing yourself like, oh, I'm not doing this right. I'm too distracted. Well, of course you're distracted. That's how minds work. We're always distracted. And the more often you do this, the more often you keep bringing your attention back to one point, the better you will get at it. Just like if you did want to start running, if you started, walking and then jogging and then running, you would get better at it. But it takes practice. It's an over time developmental practice. So you can do it, and you are doing it right. So there are also people who do meditation as part of like their morning or evening prayers. That's fine, because you're focusing on just one thing. So again, it's whatever works for you. The fourth one that I often hear is, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to meditate. I can't take that kind of time out of my schedule. And part of this actually relates to the I'm not doing it right part, because sometimes people feel like they have to meditate for hours and hours for it to work. They have to sit quietly and meditate for a good 60, 90, 2 hours. They have to meditate for a long period of time. You don't have to meditate for a long period of time. As a matter of fact, it's better if you meditate for a short period of time, but you do it regularly. So if you can find 5 minutes in your day to just pay attention to your breath, or to, stay focused on whatever task is at hand, just 5 minutes is absolutely enough. Just do that every day. That's the way that you build up your endurance, your strength. And then maybe you could, if you wanted to, then meditate for hours and hours. But it's not a requirement. Really, it is about frequency and regularity. So approach this with a little bit of kindness and do what is accessible to you. So if you can find 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. If you can find 1 minute, do 1 minute. Starting is more important than waiting for this kind of mythical, perfect time when you're going to be able to devote hours and hours to meditation. that you're going to be waiting for that, golden unicorn of time. That's never going to happen. So carve out just a little bit of time. It can be right before you go to bed. So just before you go to bed, if you take a moment to check on what it feels like to breathe, if you take a moment to check in and do like a little body scan, it's absolutely meditation. It totally counts. And if you do it right before you go to bed, it often can actually help you sleep a little bit better. So try that. You do have time. Just don't set the expectation that you're going to have hours and hours of time. Start with the time that you have. It will probably become more important to you, and then you'll find some more time for it, but don't worry about that right now. Just start with a small chunk of time and then do it kind of frequently as you can. The fifth myth that I often hear is about meditation being religious. And part of this is probably because meditation has typically been so associated with Buddhism as a religion, but it doesn't have to be religious. As a matter of fact, there are plenty of other religions that actually have meditation, even if they don't call it meditation, right? They might call it something like prayer or some type of quiet, focused time. It's the same sort of thing. So you don't have to be any particular religion to have meditation be accessible to you. It doesn't even imply that you're part of a religious tradition. Meditation is really about training your brain to come back and focus on the current moment, to sustain your attention in this moment instead of getting distracted. Doesn't have to have any religious connotations, but again, it could. It could be part of some sort of a religious ritual. It could have other larger religious meanings. That's certainly possible, but it doesn't have to have any particular religious connotation. And then the last one that I'll talk about that I hear a lot, and I think this also comes because it's associated with Buddhism, is the belief that meditation is about accepting the status quo, about just being submissive or subordinate to whatever is happening in the world, just accepting that everything is okay the way that it is. And that's not what meditation is about. It's not what Buddhism is about either, actually. And if you think about this, I think it's the term acceptance that throws a lot of people off. Because acceptance actually has two different connotations. On the one hand is accepting like approval, but the other hand is accepting like acknowledgement. And that's where meditation is. The idea is to acknowledge that this is the world the way that it is, which would then give you space to do the work that you need to do to make the world a better place, internally and externally. So meditation can actually help change your individual status quo or the larger social status quo, because it can give us the kind of groundedness, the stability, the spaciousness that we need to engage in difficult work and to do the kinds of changes that we need to do within ourselves or within the society at large. I said it was only going to be 6. I'm just going to add one little bonus one, which is that the goal of meditation is to be calm and blissed out and sort of Zen-like. And again, I think this is about connotations and what you mean by that. So what meditation can do for you is it can give you a sort of a groundedness, allows you to kind of be settled into this moment. But this moment sometimes sucks. Sometimes this moment is hard. And meditation will allow you to sit with that kind of difficulty, just like it will allow you to sit with the kind of peacefulness and the joy. So really, meditation is about brain training. It's allowing you to be focused now. Sometimes that means that meditation is really difficult, and because sometimes difficult things come up, like hard feelings, doesn't always have peaceful, kind calmness that comes up, although that comes up too. Sometimes you realize that there's some difficult emotion that comes up. But meditation can help you kind of navigate through that. So you can become a little bit more detached from that feeling that you're having, enough to observe it and recognize that you are having a feeling. And then you can kind of flow through that state to figure out kind of what the next step is going to be, what you're going to do after that. So that wasn't an official one, but it was one of the ones that I realized that just comes up pretty frequently. So before we close, I want to do like a brief meditation that comes from mindful self-compassion that is they call it the affectionate breath, and it really is about getting in touch with your breath and then seeing your breath as a source of sort of comfort. So let's get started and settle into a comfortable position. Try to make sure that your body is comfortable, feel supported, make sure that you're in a position that you can feel kind of grounded. So if you're sitting, get your feet planted into the ground. Try to support your back. Try to keep your chest open so that you can actually breathe. It's often helpful during these kinds of compassionate meditations if you give yourself a little soothing touch. So that might mean putting your hand on your heart, maybe, touching your face, petting your arm, holding your hands, something that helps you to feel supported, helps you to feel like grounded in this moment, gives yourself just a little bit of support. It's not a requirement, but it can often help. So as we get started, I want you to bring all your awareness back to yourself. All of the distractions that are happening in your life and the notifications and the social media and the kids and the dog and all that stuff, for just a moment, just let all of that stuff go. Allow yourself to just be here in this moment. So start by just observing your breath. Don't take any special breaths in, just observe. What happens as you breathe? Allow your body to just breathe you. Allow your body to move however it moves as you breathe. You can feel your chest expand, your belly expand. You feel your shoulders moving. Your back moves a little bit. Just feel the rhythm of your breath as you're breathing. Don't worry about analyzing it, figuring out what it means. Just let your body breathe you. Now, as you're observing sort of the breath and the rhythm of your breath, maybe notice as you inhale how nourishing it feels as you inhale, how it feels like your inhale is feeding your body, bringing in nutrients from the air, bringing in oxygen, filling yourself up. And then maybe as you exhale, feel how it feels a little more relaxing as you exhale. So you're breathing in nourishment and you're breathing out relaxation. Continue to feel the natural rhythm of your breathing. Feel that your whole body moving with your breath, sort of like the movement of the sea. Your mind will naturally wander during this process, and that's totally okay. It's like a gentle, curious puppy exploring the world around you. Just bring the gentle puppy of your mind back to this moment. Come back and observe your breath. Now, allow your whole body to be gently rocked and caressed as you breathe, internally caressed. So the breath comes in, nourishes your body, and you exhale, feeling relaxation. Become your breath by just breathing. Just being here with your breath. And now, gently releasing your attention to the breath, sitting quietly in your own experience, and allow yourself to feel whatever you're feeling. Just be exactly as you are. Now you can gently open your eyes and come back to the world. So that's a quick, affectionate breathing exercise that you can do anytime. You can do this anytime if you're stressed or anxious. Just gets you grounded in your breath. Feel the nourishment of your breath and the relaxation. This can be really helpful just before you're starting a meeting or before you send an email, something like that. You have access to this anytime. This could absolutely be the start of your meditation process, your meditation practice. Practice breathing. Practice breathing in and out and just paying attention to your breath. So I hope that was helpful for you. We'll be back again next week with some fascinating topic that I haven't decided yet. So we'll figure that out next week. Talk to you next week.